Quicken works on both Mac and Windows, but the experience isn't exactly the same. So if you're trying to decide which version is best for managing your money, I tested both so that you can see exactly how they compare. Now, before I even installed Quicken Mac or Quicken Windows, I did what I always do when just testing out finance tools. I actually went straight to the trenches of user feedback. Because let's be honest, like the marketing page will always look perfect and won't talk about the software and, other people's experiences of it. And what really matters is what actual users are saying after months or even years of using the software. For Quicken Mac and Windows, I dug through it all. So basically, like all the glowing 5-star Quicken for Mac reviews, the frustrated 1-star rants, and the middle of the road notes from longtime users who have seen every update roll out, basically. And one review from here really stuck with me. So this user said that he was amazed that after all these years, Quicken still managed to mess up his stock portfolio. He explained that he even rebuilt the entire thing from scratch, thinking that he was the problem, only to discover that Quicken still misreported it. And in the end, he admitted that the only reason he stuck with Quicken was because, flaws and all, it's still better than anything else out there. So yeah, I mean, I get that kind of frustration. Like if you're relying on accurate investment data, the last thing you want is any errors. But here's the thing. When I dug further, this kind of thing seems pretty rare. I didn't really see much evidence of it. Most users weren't reporting that issue, and my own experience using Quicken Mac and Quicken Windows hasn't really showed that kind of breakdown. So my guess, isolated cases, possibly corrupted files or setup mistakes that snowballed or some kind of other error. But on the flip side of that, I did come across many loyalists who've used Quicken for like decades. One user at 94 years old literally said that he's been on it since launch and still uses it to track his income, expenses, and financial goals. Another user said that Quicken is a really great value. He runs both personal and business finances on it, and it makes annual filing painless. When you've got that kind of longevity, it says a lot about trust and reliability. But the feature is where, Quicken, Windows, and Mac really differentiate each other. Like, what do they each offer? What features, what tools? So I'll start with Quicken for Mac, because honestly, a couple things surprised me. So I found one user who said that Quicken for Mac is the Quicken alternative that I've been trying to find for years. It's so clean and user-friendly. Another user mentioned running both Mac and Windows in parallel for 3 months, and his verdict? Windows had more export options, but Mac's reports were much easier to create and print. After 2 full tax years on Mac, he had 0 issues. And yeah, I get it. When I used Quicken Mac, the first thing I noticed was how polished and modern it felt. The dark mode, the smoother navigation, the uncluttered design. It's like a breath of fresh air compared to Windows and some of its own design quirks. But here's the trade-off. Another user summed it up well. Like, Quicken for Mac feels newer, but it's missing some features. Window is a little bit more clunky, but it's feature-rich. And that's exactly what I found too. So let's look at the details here. With Quicken Classic for Mac, I loved the way that it handled banking and spending. Like every checking account, credit card, and savings account connected easily. The layout didn't overwhelm me, and I could instantly see balances, categorize transactions, and stay on top of cash flow. It feels designed for everyday budgeting, not just power users. The reports feature is another win. You get clear snapshots of spending versus income, net worth tracking, and even year-over-year comparisons. So I could run a quick category report and immediately see how much I overspent eating out compared to last year. And customizing reports felt refreshingly simple compared to other finance apps I've used. Budgets on Quicken software for Mac are surprisingly flexible. I set up a 12-month plan that included seasonal spikes like holiday shopping, plus recurring income. The visual breakdown just lets me track progress month to month. So seeing where I was overspending in real time really gave me that clarity without needing to dig into complicated spreadsheets or try to guess what things were. One feature I didn't expect to use as much was the calendar. It showed daily balances and upcoming bills at a glance, almost like a financial planner. I could quickly see when cash flow would get tight before payday and then plan accordingly. And taxes, Honestly, Quicken for Mac makes tax season less painful, categorizing transactions for deductions, generating detailed tax reports, and exporting them to TurboTax or straight to a CPA just worked and was simple. I wasn't like scrambling with receipts and trying to find and keep track of things. And on top of that, the Quicken app for Mac and web sync smooth pretty well. Like I synced my Quicken data right to the cloud, I checked my balances on the go, and I even set up some alerts. If I spent too much in a budget category, my phone told me instantly, so no surprises at the end of the month. Now, Quicken Windows is a different beast. When I first switched over, I'll admit it felt more cluttered to use, but once I dug in, I realized why power users love it. So setting up spending accounts in Windows is straightforward, but the real magic is the depth. You can track checking, credit, savings, even cash accounts with a level of detail that the Mac version just doesn't quite match. Adding property and debt accounts is another edge Quicken Windows has. So if you've got, say, a mortgage, an auto loan, or even an investment property, Quicken Windows lets you track both the asset and liability side by side. So that means you get a clearer net worth picture in real time. Categorizing transaction in Windows was also featured that is like a pretty big deal there. Every single expense there can be tracked, tagged, and broken into subcategories. So you can categorize each transaction. So like for small business owners or for landlords, perhaps, this I think is really big during tax season. Reports on Windows can also go way deeper, so you can slice your finances by payee, category, time period, or custom fields. I've run reports that compared my current quarter spending to the last 3 years, and the detail is something Mac couldn't fully replicate. Bills and invoices on Windows also deserve mention here. So recording bills as soon as they come in, scheduling payments, and having Quicken remind me before due dates, this one saved me from just late fees more than like a single time. So in my experience, Quicken Mac wins on simplicity, but not as much as like complexity as Quicken Windows. But Quicken Mac wins in design and ease of use, but Quicken Window wins on more depth, flexibility, and advanced features. But let's be real too. Like neither Quicken Mac or Windows is perfect. Like they've each got their flaws and their benefits. Like for flaws, for Quicken Mac, the downside is that it sometimes feels too oversimplified. Like if you're a serious investor who wants those extra tools and advanced tracking, you might find yourself hitting a wall there. But honestly, that simplicity and design feature is like really what makes it less intimidating for more everyday users. And for Quicken Windows, like the con is the opposite. It can feel more heavy, even overwhelming or like cluttered when you first start. The layout isn't as clean, and the learning curve is steeper. But once you get past that, the level of control you get is unmatched. So yeah, they each have their quirks, but neither is like a deal breaker for me. It's just like more unique to its different version. It's more like a personal difference depending on what kind of user you are. And when it comes to cost, both Quicken Mac and Windows sit in the same general range, reasonably priced for what they offer. Like they're not the cheapest app out there, but like considering the control and clarity you get, they're far from overpriced. Like if you're just dabbling in budgeting, it might feel like more of a big investment, but if you're serious about managing every detail of your financial life, the subscription kind of pays for itself. So check the links in the description to see the current pricing plan and grab any available promo. I'll keep that updated so you don't miss out on any deals. So here's my bottom line. If you want a cleaner, more modern feel with all the essential tools and assets for personal budgeting, Quicken for Mac really nails it. But if you need more advanced reporting, property, and debt tracking, or you just love having every detail at your fingertips, Quicken for Windows is the heavyweight. Check the link in the description of this video to get started with our special discount and coupon.